Okay, so what am I doing here? This is definitely a hit record series. I'm gonna run through getting to here, and then going beyond this as far as getting some parts on. So I'm actually recording the intro in the middle. So you're gonna see what happened before this, and then you're gonna see what happened, after this or whatever. But it all makes sense when I edit it. I'm just taking this bike apart and getting it all black, and then I might paint parts later or whatever, but it's gonna be pretty dirty. It's gonna be pretty messy, but I just need to get it back together in a configuration I actually wanna work on. That one had lights. There's the light shining down here. But yeah, there's helicopters and there's a couple of like weird planes, like prop planes that fly slow. That's fun. So always fun working in the garage. That should look pretty good on there. I already started cutting that off so it fits right. I want it more like this than like that. And then there's some kind of bracket. Probably just gonna paint that rough. I've got the foot brace recently from my Zig guy. Got my old black frame that I can fix that on now and tear that off. With low down seat, believe the TRS. Somebody sent that to me. I also have a headlight bracket that I bent out. It was actually bent like here. And remove the tabs, flat black that. The K-Town stretch, although it wasn't called that on the website, from MNNTHBX, MNNTHBX, I can't ever say that, but Man in the Box. One of their workers had this on the desk and offered it up. So not available anymore, but I got that. So all together, and I think it's just gonna be pretty dirty. I mean, I'm just gonna get everything together and like hit black on any places that aren't blacked out. Just do a dirty build just to get it done, make it look mean. Right, so to get this frame off, the wires do go through the frame to the engine. So I'm gonna have to unplug all the wires off the carb. And this, I don't have tail lights. I may have to cut that stupid thing, PCB. Just pull all those. Stator might come this way. I might be able to leave it on, but if it goes through the hole, obviously it won't let go of the frame. So, right, for some reason, the first two times I took an engine apart, this thing confounded me. It looks like there's like, it looks like these might be where you release the two plugs, and it almost looks like this, and this might be the halves. And the other half's actually in here, and there's this weird tab right there. And if you get that, if you can hold that tab, this part moves like right out. I don't know if I can set the camera down and pull it. I might be able to get it with one hand by pushing that tab. Oh, push it this way. There you go. So, and the tab that holds it is, oh fuck, right here. So the tab is there, and you gotta push it away from the plug and pull the plug out. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm not sure where I left off. It's really hot out here. I have the front of the bike off and that. So I gotta pull that frame off, but I think I'm not even gonna put that engine on. I think I'm gonna put a different engine on, so I need to pull the other engine and then put the black frame on that engine. Because I'm having some problems with this one. I can't quite figure it out. Although with the stretch, it'd be easier to work on this engine a little bit longer to see if I can figure it out. Okay, that's what I was gonna do. Stick with this engine stretch it out. I can always change the engine later. It'll be easier when the bike's all together anyway. I'm gonna have too many parts in the garage here. So yeah, pull the red frame, put the black frame on. All right. These like stamped, not etched sockets, especially the 12 point, man. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. All right, trash. Maybe it's not etched, it's still stamped, but it's more refined, and they don't try to do it as deep because the metal's not as soft. But this brand from, come on, focus. This brand from, O'Reilly's is where I got it. Made in USA, and 6 point, like, awesome. I also have kind of fun here. So that was a 14. I'm using a 14 right through here. 14 right through there, and then 17 on that side to get the mount. Well, I'm leaving the mount on the frame, so I've got two different fucking axles or some shit. I forget my words sometimes. But that rod right there, I gotta pull that out so I can pull the engine off, or pull the frame off actually. And then this is kind of fun. We used to have some old diesel sedans. My dad was into diesels, and that was in there. But that one's strong, because of course it would be. Yeah, pull that off. Wrench on one side, socket on this side. Should be pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so we're running through this kind of quick, but believe me that, like, I have slacked for a bunch of days, and thought about it, and so, like, don't kick yourself if it doesn't go as fast as this. But that comes off, and then we need to get the mount on the engine. Hoping to get the mount on the engine first will be easier. Seems, because he said you don't have to take off the bolts on this mount. I think that's upside down. It's got to be upside down. No, can't be upside down. All right. Okay, so there's, I'm going to pull these bolts off there for the other mount. Those two little screws that was in that was in the bag, that's for the crossbeam here and here. So those bolts are going to go through there to connect to the mount and keep it up there, so the mount doesn't, go the wrong way. So that's what those are for. And then there is a bolt to hold the shock on the shock mount. And then I'll probably reuse the shock bolt, or the bolt that I had. We're talking about the top of the shock. The bolt that I already had here going through that'll actually go through the mount to hold it onto the frame. Okay? Okay. All right, so it was actually Matt, who's in the group over at Man in the Box. All right, I talked with him a couple of times, and it's always been good advice. He seems super solid. I mean, he is super solid. Anyways, I got the stretch from him, and there's a couple bolts missing or whatever, and he got it all together. I think the bolts for the frame to the mount, the extension, is what was missing, and the mount itself doesn't have threads. I was able to find bolts that I use to hold my Met frame and front ruck, back Met. So ruck throw. So I have a ruck throw built as a technicality, just in frames alone, and it doesn't have threads in the Met frame. That comes on another part of the Met. So I had these on there. I believe it's the same, and we can get this frame on for now, and then I'll go pick up some other ones, and maybe I'll even get better grade ones of these. I think mostly this is the important part, but you know, we'll check those soon and tie those down. So now I can bolt this for the mount to this part of the frame. Okay, so I have to admit that with everything going on and just, you know, chatting with people about everything going on and stuff like that, like I'm exhausted, man. And then like work is really weird, and it was already weird. Man, I've tried to come to the garage probably almost every day, every other day, and just like I have no real drive for it or whatever. But actually having these parts, I actually just realized how excited I am to get this at least together preliminary. I might go back through and do something or whatever, but. All right, so honestly, I had this screw in here flush with that, right? But then this is what I'm supposed to put on the back. And so I flipped this one around, and since there's a thread under here, this big dress-up washer is holding against the mount and threaded into this. So that seems good. Now there's extra room here. I'm going to tie that down and it'll short up just a little bit more. But I feel like it's almost better this way because then I have room to put something else on it. So I don't know if the dress-up washers are supposed to be out here to look good, or if they actually provide the like size to actually like shore up the frame better. I kind of like that idea better. I'm not an engineer though. So, Matt, when you see this, is it the one on the left or the one on the right? You know, which way should I go? I'm going like this for now, and if I ever get a Metro battery box style thing, I mean, I can still attach it there. Anyways, I don't know. Let me know. Okay. So, kind of close. I just kind of set this on there. And we got to take the axle for the engine. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow and absolutely remember that I know what that's called and feel really dumb that I called it an axle. And it's going in the video anyway. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Alright. So. Okay. That is 14 and 17. That was one of the reasons why I was excited about my nifty Mercedes-Benz wrench. I have a lot of 14 and 7s. Like I do some 8, 10 and 12 of course, and then 14 and 17 are pretty common after, I don't know if that's riot shit, which I don't think in this area, but the whole city is like, but whatever. But yeah, 14 and 17 a lot of times, like on the stem, keeping the handlebar on, just 14 and 17. So you'll need those a bunch. And if you have an 8, a 10, and a 12, and a 14, and a 17, you feel like you can do almost everything you think of at first. I think the variator is 14, or is it 17? Variator is 17, but the clutch is a 14, okay? So you don't always want a wrench, you want sockets most of the time, but and then got the bolt that had the shock on here. All right, got that bolt, and then I have this that Matt sent me for K-Town stretch. This I painted myself, so it's not as good as the stretch, but it'll do. Dirty bike, right? All right, so let's put that one first. It's awfully long. Is that really right? Yeah. I'm going to use his spacer up here. Okay, so the spacer goes on this side of it. There we go. I was trying to teach my daughter the other day that if you move the part while you're trying to screw a bolt in, a lot of times you'll find the place where it's easy to screw in. Because I've seen a lot of people lean on a part and then they are actually causing more, and it's harder to screw the bolts in. So sometimes you can just find that point where it just glides in and do it by hand. Either way, it's easier even if you're using a wrench. So, fuck, do I have to pick up that wheel to get it in there? Oh, I can just push that. Okay, I feel stupid now. All right. Okay. All right, so I gotta tighten that down, but that looks pretty good. All right. Hard to tell without the bike or whatever, but good there. And then that's good. Put these back together. All right. So that's back together. Hard to tell what it really looks like without a seat and a tank on it. I don't have a tank cover right now, so I just threw the floorboard on. I have a half floorboard. I usually cut them in half. Toss the seat on. It's not permanently attached yet, but it's getting there, man. That's pretty good. I like that. I actually like the line around there, man. So I don't know. Yeah, that's where we're at. That feels pretty good though. We got a bit done. It shows a lot of potential for something. I mean, like, I like the general shape right now as is. So I don't know what I'll do as far as style on it. It'll be noisy and messy. Noisy art style. I'm not sure what exhaust we'll have on it, so I'm not talking about that yet. But some good progress for a night. Maybe I'll do a little more tomorrow. All right, later.